6 years ago, a brand new YouTube channel was launched back on June 20th, 2019 by Network3000's to create great content such as GameShow videos, live stream videos, vlog videos, sport videos, gameplay videos, and much more. Ladies and gentlemen, it's now time to celebrate the accomplishment of this newest episode of Chilling3000 Hangouts, interview with Randy West. Enjoy. Alright, and we are live, everybody, for this special edition of Chilling3000 Hangouts episode number 180. And today I'm here with our guest of the hour, or man of the hour, Randy West. How are you doing tonight, Randy?
I don't even rate a whole hour. I rate maybe 15 minutes. But I'd be happy to do the hour with you. And nice to see you, David, and Danny, and Josh. Wow, this is everything that's everybody who's important to game shows. Without you guys, I'd be homeless.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of opportunity to, I'll come into your house and say, congratulations, you just won. Nobody cares. If you can tune a car, if you can actually paint a house, then you got a job. The things I do, there's nothing without you. So thank you, guys.
You're welcome. And I'm also here with our co-host for tonight, Danny Lewis.
Hello.
And Josh Salisbury.
Good evening.
Good evening to you. All right, so let's begin our interview questions for tonight. Since I'm the host here, I might as well go first. Tell us why you decided to write TV Inside Out, and how many years did it take for you to complete the book? And I will show you. Here's the book right here.
Hey, look at that. You have one and I have one. Is there anyone who doesn't have one?
Mine is upstairs. Mine's upstairs. I read
Good
it.
answer. Good answer. Survey said upstairs.
Yes.
Number one answer. Why did
Yes.
I write the book? Because there are so many fantastic stories about television that if they don't get printed somewhere, don't get memorialized in some capacity, they're gone forever. And how long did it take to write? Well, the length of time working with folks on shows, I'm talking about crew members, lighting and audio and directors, all these great stories were going to go away at some point. So I started making mental notes of it and then started making actual physical notes, but didn't think about a book until just after the Johnny Olson book, which was the first thing I'd ever written. I came into Johnny Olson's collection of personal effects, all the things he saved from a 58-year career, which included an outline for an autobiography he wanted to write. And I felt the best way I could return the favor of mentoring me into the business was to finish the book for him, found a publisher, and I never thought of myself as a writer. I was just going to do that book to honor Johnny. And the publisher said, write something else. And I'm like, I'm not a writer. He says, yes, you are. So I've had an opportunity to take all those mental notes and physical notes and history about the craziness of the business and commit it to the future. And while I was writing, I didn't sit down to write a book. I just started writing the stories. When I got done, I had a book and a half. So I'm halfway through a volume 2 of this, which is amazing because it's so many incredible stories.
That's awesome. And how many years did it take for you to get this book complete again?
Once I started, committing it to a book, it's like like 2 or 3 year process, really, because it's one thing to write all this stuff down and vet it, meaning, do the research necessary to make sure that it's accurate, call people who can, support it and make any corrections from the guy who told it to you. No, it was actually this way. It's a long process to get all that done. And then once you've written it down, you really want to be rewriting and rewriting and rewriting. Editing is the hardest part of writing, I think, because brevity is the soul of wit. If you can say it in 5 words instead of 10, or 200 words instead of 400, then that's that more compelling for the reader. So a couple of 3 years to actually write it.
Yeah,
Okay.
because I remember when we first talked to you in May of 2021. At that time, I think you were completely done with rewriting it, and you're just shopping it around to some publishers, and you wanted to find the right one that didn't want to mess it up or alter it. So,
yeah, I found a good guy, and the print in this thing is huge. The first book that I did, the Johnny Olson book, you have to come with a magnifying glass to read this. Sometimes it's small if you're not in a well-lit room or something like that. And I said to the guy, this is a 6x9 book. Why don't we do a 6x9 book and then blow it up to 8.5 by 11 and let the printing get bigger too? So the pictures are bigger, the print is bigger, even though it's kind of like the same book just blown up, if that makes any sense. Yeah. And that just makes it easier to read and easier to deal with.
Yeah. All right, Danny, your turn.
We're gonna let Josh do this next one, actually.
Oh, okay.
All right. You say in your book it's hard to make a dream of Hollywood. When I looked at it, and people shouldn't get ripped off for that dream. What advice would you have for somebody that wants to get into Hollywood and make that dream a reality for them?
I would take a plane instead of a bus. That would be the best way into Hollywood. I would use Burbank Airport and maybe a lift when you pull in if you don't have any friends here. All that's a joke, of course. Somebody once asked Tallulah Bankhead at Old Star, what's the best way to get around in Hollywood? And she said, take Fountain Avenue, which was kind of like where I'm riffing off of that kind of joke. In reality, you don't want to pay anybody for anything. There's a lot of acting classes and coaching and managers who want a fee and all that stuff. If anyone's asking for money, turn the other way. It may seem like a shortcut, and it may in some cases be. I can't speak for everybody, but coaching and the classes and all that are not going to be as helpful and then learning the business the one and only way you can, which is to be in it. Anyone who I know who's starting from zero, meaning they don't have a relative in the business or something like that, a Nepo baby, they do it by working for free. It's interning, volunteering, happy to do whatever it takes to be around it. And that's pretty much what I did. I came with some skills from radio, so my time spent just hanging around to learn stuff wasn't as long, but for my way in it, initially meeting producers was to go on game shows as a contestant. Those who know me know I've done 9 shows. What's My Line, To Tell the Truth, Face the Music, Press Your Luck, All-Star Blitz, blah, 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 Sweetheart, a few more. To be a contestant, to be around it, to meet the producers. Everyone wants to win. I just wanted to meet the producers and get under get in their offices, which I did as they went on to develop new shows. So I was like a guy who was always handy and easy to get along with and happy to do whatever it took. So it wasn't a lot of free work, but that's the way in. Find somebody to mentor you and give you a leg up and be willing to serve that apprenticeship.
It's interesting you say that, because you just saved me a lot of money, because I've had people tell me, well, go back to your community college, take this class, take that class, and the other class. And I pretty much do exactly what you've done. Make yourself available and get to know these people on the inside.
That's it. I mean, I can't, I know I've taken some, I teach some classes, so I know how useless they are. No, that's but I've never seen a college course that will tell you how to project an on-camera personality. I've never seen it. That's for the on-camera side. From a production side, who's going to teach you how to research game show questions if that's what you want to do? It just doesn't work that way, because college classes tend to be more about the academic side of it. So you're writing a history of this or analyzing that, and that's all wonderful from an academic standpoint. But as far as getting in the door, there's only one person I know who got in the door from an academic work. Now think hard.
I know exactly who you mean, sir.
All right, go ahead and finish the story then.
That would be Mr. Roger Dobkowitz, longtime producer of The Price is Right for 36 years.
Yeah,
gotcha.
And he's about you're right. He's about the only person that I've met that has done that.
Right.
Yeah, people say all the time, well, you should go to college. Well, it's not for everybody. I mean, look at Drew Carey. He dropped out of college, so he has to
Right.
more.
Well, I'll give you a quick story. I knew what I wanted to do, and I was living with my parents in my high school days, and I wanted to get into radio, and I got a radio job, and I was offered full time. And
Yeah.
my parents said, "You're not going to stay in this house unless you go to college." So, gee, what do I do now? I mean, they were like dead set against it. My just leaving to work in radio, which is what got me into television, but it seemed so insecure that they couldn't understand it. And I went and finished college, got a bachelor's degree, not because it taught me anything about being on radio or television, but it gave me a backup. It gave me some
backup plan,
some area that of expertise or knowledge that I could move to if my dream didn't come true.
Okay. Our next question is actually this comes from Ernie Anderson.
Ernie Anderson, wait a minute. On the Love Boat. Dad, tonight funny home videos. Ernie Anderson. Go ahead.
I interviewed him recently. He's a good guy. What is your dream job? What was your dream job growing up?
Yeah, the dream job was The Price is Right because of what that show has meant to everybody. It's such a vital part of all of our lives. I don't know if these are in particular order, but that's one. Number two is the guy who started me in the business. That was his signature show. That was where Johnny Olson was best known. And if I could do the job that he did and do it well enough, I mean, that meant I had really learned my lessons from Johnny. Number three, again, not necessarily in order, is that's the toughest show to announce, period, end of paragraph.
Yeah.
That's it. As Bob Barker said to me, you do more talking than I do. And there's something to be said for that. I'm not going to do a word count, but, there's no game show in the world where the announcer does that much talking. And this could be number 3.5. Since Bob Barker started in television before videotape, that show was live to tape. There was no stopping, no editing. And if there was an announcer, for me to work live, it's like walking a tightrope in the circus, on the high wire up there. You fall, everyone's going to see it. You crash and burn. There's no going back to fix it.
Crash.
So that made it the most challenging job. And the biggest, heaviest word count, if you will. So that is and it's important to everybody in the world that we love so much. So that was the game that is the highlight of my career, clearly.
And Randy never had pickups on that show. I've been to a couple shows that Randy did, and he never had pickups.
Thank you for that. Yeah. And I thank you very much for that, because I'm very proud of that. And everyone else who has done it, other than Johnny, has had pickups. And that's fine. It's not it's not criminal at all. But for me, it's a badge of, whatever expertise. I'll show you how you can do that. Nobody ever needs to do a pickup. Attention, future announcers. There is no reason in the world you cannot get your first read to be the read. And all you need to know is how Johnny Olson did it. And this is north of $1 million, because when Johnny got a Price is Right script, this is what he did with it.
Yeah.
Though that's a Johnny Olson edited script from the Price is Right showcase. And I don't know if it's showing up backwards and inside out and upside down or whatever, but you can get the idea of exactly what he did. It was to make all these incredible, crazy ass markings. And he taught me it's a language that he taught himself, created himself, and then taught it to me. And it's like music, if Beethoven wrote music 500 years ago, but if you have all those markings where the notes are and all those little notations, you could play it just like Beethoven played it. So absolutely. I can hear it in my head. I make those markings. I score it, if you will, if you want to use a musical term. And then reading it back, it's all there. It's all there. You don't have to think about where's my voice going here? Where's the emphasis? Where do I take a breath? All of that is done for you. Johnny taught me that. And that's the greatest tool anyone could ever give anybody, is a working system for marking copy.
Very awesome. All right, Danny.
Okay. I have 2 back-to-back questions here. First, Randy, I'd like to know, What was it like working on the old game show Hollywood Showdown?
Oh, wow. That was so much fun because Todd Newton and I grew to be tremendous friends. And I was working with Sandy Stewart, which meant that Bob Stewart, the brain of all times, used to show up periodically at tapings. To talk with Bob Stewart, my God, the opportunity presented itself many times over the years, but you always laughed and learned something. Working for Sandy, the guy grew up in the business, so he as a producer was brilliant. Again, everything was so well oiled. And I go back to Todd. First day on the set, Todd said, I've worked on E. I've done all these travel shows for E and stuff, but I've never done a game show. Randy, you're the game show guy. What do I need to know? So he was looking to me, which he didn't need to do past the first tape day because he's a natural. So the respect that I got from everybody was a nice, pat on the back. But the greatest part of it was working a well-oiled machine run by Sandy Stewart and building that friendship with Todd, because Todd and I are still good buddies all these years later. That was 1999. So it's 26 years later. And we traveled the country, traveled North America doing The Price is Right live, over 3,000 performances. And over that time, we became like brothers. So Showdown was a lot of fun for those reasons.
Yeah, we haven't seen Showdown or All New Three's a Crowd have a streaming life, but maybe in the next 5 or 10 years, we'll see what happens.
Oh, I'm ready for that. There are enough episodes. There's 165. I think 165 of Hollywood Showdown. Because we did it for PAX. We had 100 shows, and then we did I say 165? Wait a minute. Yeah, 65, I think, originally for GSN, and another 100 for. So that's, plenty of shows to rotate.
Sure.
So I'm ready for that.
Yeah, that was a fun show. And another one we'll talk about Wink Martindale, of course. We'd be in trouble if we didn't.
Yeah.
In the mid-90s, the Family Channel partnered up with Wink to do a bunch of shows like Trivial Pursuit and Shuffle and Boggle. And you worked on, which one of those did you work on?
Jumble. I did all 4 of them.
Okay, yeah. So what was that like, and doing all those shows at the same time?
Well, that was great because you were working for Wink. Wink said to me on day one, this warm-up stuff you do, I tried to do it once in my career and I failed miserably. So whatever you need for support, to make that job easier and better, just tell me. And so it was wonderful to have his respect from day one and his willingness to help me in any way that, it's like somebody has has your back. So that felt great. And then, of course, I'm working with the one and only Wink frickin' Martindale.
Right.
I mean, wow. I mean, it just doesn't get any better as far as iconic pros. And he was a co-producer of the show. He owned the thing with Phil Hillier, which meant you're looking at the boss. So it's not like another guy and another guy and another guy. If Wink's happy, we're all happy. And as a performer, he understood, how to create a set that's a happy place to be because it reflects on the air. If you're having a good time, you're creating a good time for the viewers. So it was wonderful. And the other part of it is he paid me extremely well because we did something called play breaks, which you may remember. Hey, here's an opportunity to play along from home, dial the 900 number. Randy, what can they win this time? It would be a toaster oven, whatever, or today's featured prize, a week in wherever, So all these little descriptions of prizes was something that was never done before. What is a play break? How does that work? What is it? And when it comes down to figuring out what somebody should be paid for it, there was no precedent. Yeah. So Wink paid me generously for it. So even when the shows ended, the play breaks were still going. So that went on for like a year and a half or 2 years. So I came away from there a very happy boy from the experience and the fun, and also having been well paid.
Very nice.
Very cool. All right. I have a question from yours truly and a viewer that sent to me before we go on the air as well. Are you still touring The Price is Right live?
The show is still. I'm not doing it anymore. I may, if somebody gets sick, I may get called again. The same thing with the Wheel of Fortune live.
Wheel of Fortune.
I got called to help kick that off. And I'm still in their contact list. The issue of why I'm still not doing it is, 20 years was enough, it seems to me. but I proved I could do it. After 20 years, I guess I could do it, you know. But seriously, the issue was we were residencies. We did the show in Reno initially. That was the first place we did the show. And then we went to, this may be out of order, but Atlantic City, Shreveport, San Diego, Kansas City, Las Vegas, et cetera, and other places there. So when you do a residency, you move in and you have a place to live. You have a condo. You have a place a refrigerator. You know, you're not eating all your meals out of paper, you know, wax paper. You know, it's a life. When the show started to travel, that became a whole different lifestyle because now you're living and sleeping on a bus. It's a rock and roll tour bus. It's the best bus in the world. And in fact, I slept better on the bus than I do at home because of the vibration or whatever. And this, you know, you're with a bunch of people. It's like a college dorm, but it's still a lot of travel and it's wearying on the soul. You know, it's just one night, get on the bus, get off the bus, go to a hotel room for 4 hours, shower, and come out of the hotel room. Geez, you know, it's like just a lot of work. It was an all-day affair to do a 90-minute show. Yeah. So I'm glad I did it, and it was a fun experience. I worked with great people, but it's tough to do that for a long period of time. So I'm happy not to be doing it on those terms. But if they ever did a residency again with either of these shows, I'd be like, you know, at their doorstep, knocking away. Come on, guys, let's do this. Because I love the work, as you know, I wouldn't still be doing it. Yeah. Love the work, but the travel for those two shows just got old after.
Like you're at a hot band going on tour every night.
Right? Yeah, and talk to somebody who tours, man. It's a challenge. I won't say it's hell, but it's a challenge. And some people are cut out for it, and other people aren't. And I did as much of it as I thought was healthy and happy.
Okay, and I also got this question. From Alex here, favorite piece of game show artifacts you have? Artifacts, I think.
I told you what I have. I have to kill you. Everyone knows I had the giant fast money board from Family Feud, the big black board with the yellow.
That was cool.
Yeah, that's
it works. It works.
Yes, you've seen it online. Exactly. We've placed a couple of videos of it. It's now, as you know, at the National Archives for Television Game Shows, which is this place at the Strong Museum of Play in Rochester, New York. Yep. So we sent that down there. I sent other things like that down there. Other people like Bob Bowden have sent other things like that down there. I don't feel at liberty to talk about everything that Bob had or I had, because some of it comes to you through indirect means. Let's put it that way. But I will say that the National Archives of Television Game Shows has the Fast Money board from Family Feud, has a letter board from Wheel of Fortune, has a big wheel from The Price is Right, has many other iconic pieces, tons of them. Some of them that were too big for the display space that will actually be there have been relinquished from our friendship, our little network of people, including that was the skee ball game from Price is Right.
Super Bowl.
We had Super Bowl ready to go down there. It's just too big. So Super Bowl found subsequently another home. But there's a lot of those games and set pieces from a lot of different shows that will be down there. They're already down there. Others will continue to be moved down there. And
I got to check out the museum sometime soon.
It's
after it opens.
Not till it opens, and that, unfortunately, let's take a moment here for a public service announcement, if I may. We received a $400,000 grant from the federal government, from the humanities, whatever the Department of, it's not the Department of Humanity, but you know I'm speaking of a grant, federal.
Yeah, federal grant.
Yeah, so $400,000 that the Trump administration clawed back during the Elon Musk economizing days. So they got a letter saying, that grant that we awarded you, it's no longer. And of course, they went to the attorneys, and they do have the right to pull it back and before it's actually awarded. And they did. So this was all going to open at the museum very quickly. But now with a $400,000 grant to
Yikes.
make up for. Everything will be as it is. It takes time.
Yeah.
So I've sent cash
Okay.
down there. A lot of people send cash down there, and they're aggressively asking for people for donations to make up for the lost time, and meaning to accelerate the timetable. That's a better way of saying it. To try to make up a bunch of that money so we can actually do the physical construction that's necessary to mount something with all these huge pieces. So I will be sending more money down there as I am. I've made a commitment on an annual basis, and other people really ought to consider making a donation to the National Archives of Television Game Shows at the Strong Museum of Play. The last 4 words on it will just to give you an address, which is museumofplay.org. Museumofplay.org. So there you go. So a lot of great artifacts. I've got a room full of them. I'm not going to bring the camera in there, but it's a lot of great stuff, from Plinko chips to all manner of cool things that will all find its way down there eventually.
Oh, yeah. Danny?
Yeah, a slight detour. I really wanted to go to that quiz show expo last year, but it didn't work out. I hope they can do it again in 26.
We're hoping for it in 26. There were some business related aspects to it that didn't fall into place the way it would have been ideal to be. But with enough lead time for another one, we're hoping very much to bring the gang back together.
Right. Okay. Now, Randy, in 1990 or 91, you were the announcer on a little talk show called the Chuck Woolery Show.
Yes.
How the hell did you get roped into doing that?
With 12 gauge rope. No, it was a joy. How did that come to be? Wow, it was a wacky show, and I can tell you tons of stories about it. But your question was, how did I get that gig? How did I get? Oh, I do know how I got that gig. There's a couple of producers whose names, if you're a total geek, may have run across before. Jake Tauber and Charlie Colarusso. Charlie Colarusso did some game shows for Group W, Westinghouse. Jake Tauber had been head of daytime at NBC and also worked for Goodson Todman. And he's the guy, by the way, who came up with the idea of, gee, Match Game is so much fun and Hollywood Squares is so much fun. Why don't we put the two together? That was his idea, and he regrets it to this day because it didn't work. No. Anyway, these two guys formed a partnership and produced shows together. They did a show for cable TV in the early days of cable, before there was Comedy Central. There were 2 comedy cable channels. There was the HA channel, H-A exclamation mark, and the HA channel. What was the other one? Comedy. There was another one. I forget. Pardon me. We'll fix it later in post. What was the other one? The Mondo Variety. The Hot. It was another comedy channel. Anyway, they did a pilot for a show called Mondo Variety Show. The Mondo Variety Show, like a gong show, a variety show with wacky, stupid, crazy, funny stuff. And they did a pilot on very cheap. A non-union pilot, very cheap. And Fred called me, Fred Wasbrock, the agent, who knows all these producers, and said, go down, do warm-up for these guys. The job pays $50. And I'm like, Fred, hello? Is this thing working? Hello? $50? Yeah, I can't do that. My union will kill me. And why would you even ask me to do that? And why would I want to do that? Because Jake and Charlie will do other shows. And if you do a good job for them this one time and do them a favor, they'll return the favor. So I went down for $50, did the warm-up on the Mondo Variety Show, and Jake and Charlie did the Chuck Woolery talk show, and I got the phone call, nobody else, because they saw me do warm-up and they knew I could announce. So I was put to the front of the line, no competition, called, would you do the job? And it was brilliant. So that's how I got it. And I also got another plum from these guys when Group W, who distributed the show, wanted to do daily promos, meaning on the next Chuck Woolery show, house parties, kid and play, rap with Chuck, those daily episodic on the next episode. When it came time to do those, the company that produced them said, hey, we have a bunch of voiceover people you should consider. I'll send you over all their tapes. And Jake Tauber said, no, use our announcer. well, it's a special thing to read to video. It's a unique talent. It's a different skill. And Jake said, well, hire him to do it. If he can't do it, that's another story. So they gave me a second favor off of that one night of $50 work, the show and the promos. So the promos paid more than the show, frankly, because you do a 30-second, a 20-second, a 15-second, a 10-second version for each day. Bing, bang, boom, ka-ching. So how I got it was through the kindness of Jake and Charlie, and I primed the pump. Thank you to Fred Wasbrook. And Chuck Woolery, how did Chuck Woolery get a talk show? That's the question you really want to know. How the hell did he get a talk show? It was one of the times that Johnny Carson was telling NBC, I'm quitting. It was renegotiation time. And he did that a few times when the contract came up. Gave them a fright. And Eric Lieber, who was doing Love Connection, you keeping score of all this now? You got all these names?
Love Connection was very successful at this time.
All right. Eric was doing big business with Chuck on Love Connection. And Eric said, why don't we groom Chuck to be the next Johnny Carson? In case Johnny Carson does leave, we can have him almost step into the job. So we'll do a Tonight Show as a talk show of its own, but we'll model it after the Tonight Show, meaning there'll be a live band, there'll be a sidekick, Ed McMahon, there'll be a monologue, there'll be guests. So they created this daytime Tonight Show. And that's what it was going to be, a chance to audition Chuck to be the host of the Tonight Show.
Wow.
And I was the Ed McMahon, but the part got rolled back. They decided to keep it off camera. I don't know exactly what the thinking was behind that, but that's fine. So I was that sidekick, and Chuck and I played very well together as long as we didn't talk politics. We had a great rapport and turned out to become great friends. And when there was a break in hosts at Price is Right Live, I said, somebody said, I don't know who said it first, but Chuck Woolery could probably do this. So we did Price is Right Live together along the way of our long relationship. So that's how it came to be. He was going to be the new Johnny Carson, potentially. Wow.
Very cool. All right.
I was going to say one funny thing about that. Around the time Pat Sajak had left Wheel of Fortune, one of the talking heads was talking to Chuck, one of his last TV appearances, and Chuck erroneously stated that him and Pat had never met. And a friend of mine thought, how is that possible? You know, they've been in the game show business for 50 years and they never met. That's impossible. So he went and found his tape, not of the Chuck Woolery show, but of the Pat Sajak talk show, which also lasted for, X amount of weeks at that time. And he actually found the episode where Pat Sajak talked to Chuck Woolery. So,
that's great. But if you talk to Jim McCrell, who was doing Celebrity Sweepstakes at NBC, while Chuck Woolery was doing Wheel of Fortune, he will tell you that they all met at the commissary.
Yeah,
because there's a couple of great stories of the three guys I just mentioned and a few other folks who were just all taping in this, Peter Marshall, I think, was the other one. Peter was the fourth person in that story. Yeah. So they had all met at NBC during those days. So Chuck can't possibly say he never met Pat because there's a second time that he did.
Very good.
Okay. Here's a question from my good friend Corey here. Hey David, I have a question for Randy. I have a lot of respect for Randy and the business of game shows as a whole. Since getting the chance to be on The Price is Right, yes, Corey was on The Price is Right recently. But my question for Randy is this: did he ever get a chance to pilot game shows with the King of Productions, Mark Gibson, and if so, what was it like working with him as well? Thank you, Randy. You're a wonderful person, and you and Wayne truly had a great friendship. And I can't wait to see the Game Show Museum in 2027. I'll also be considering donating some pieces to the history as well. And also, David, it was fun seeing you and the audience. Too bad we couldn't meet up in Los Angeles. It would have been fun.
Wow, thank you. Thank you very, very much. It's very kind, very, very appreciated. And what the hell was the question again? Yes.
It was Mark Gibson, if you ever worked with Mark Gibson.
Okay, of course. I did on a formal level, I did a pilot called On a Roll which was David Sparks as host for Goodson Todman. But I got to know Mark Goodson from all the run-throughs I was doing that were pre-pilot. You know, we have an idea for a show. Let's get some folks in, pay them $25 to run through the game. And I was called in by the Goodson Todman people. I'm thinking, who produced Family Feud? Howard Felsher was one of the people at Goodson who would call me in for these run-through sessions. And when they were forming and fine-tuning a game, Mark Goodson would be there. Obviously, that's his job.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
So I would see him and, you know, hi, Mr. Goodson. The other times I first met him was Goodson Todman used to be at what address? 6430 Sunset Boulevard, Los Angeles, 90028. I worked in that building at Power 106 Radio. So I would see Mark Goodson on the elevator because he had 3 floors. He had 6, 10, and 15, if I recall. And I was on the second floor. Anyway, I would see him there. I would see him at the run-throughs. And eventually I started making small talk with him and about, you know, how to get into the business, all the things that people ask, and then questions specifically about particular shows that I was interested in. So he said, come on back to my office when we're done with the run-through. So, wow, I went to his office, and I'll never forget it because the place was unbelievably well furnished. He had a desk with no drawers. It was just a glass top. And I said, well, that's an interesting desk. It was gold with a glass top, no drawers. So that's an interesting desk. He says, yes, this was Napoleon Bonaparte's desk. And I'm like, really? I'm thinking to myself, that can't be, but okay. Yeah. I didn't say, I went, wow, and didn't say much more. And I'm looking around the room. I said, that is a wonderful painting. I've seen that. Is that Monet or is that Picasso? He says, no, that's a Picasso. And I said, yeah, I thought I recognized it. He says, no, that's the Picasso. He had the original artwork of a piece of art that we've seen before. You and I have seen in museums or books or whatever. He had it. And I'm like, geez, Louise. And the more I looked around the room, it was full of all these museum pieces. It was unbelievable. And we sat and talked. And on that day, particularly, I remember it because I was in these incredible surroundings. He was a very intelligent man. He was socially awkward, but had all the trappings of carrying on a great conversation, whatever. But you can sense that he was not the most easy person and most comfortable. He had a difficult childhood, I come to learn, talked with him some about it. And there's a great old article in a Sports Illustrated magazine and some other sources. And then the mutual friends I have who worked with Goodson filled in some of the holes. He had an interesting childhood. He was a very unique person, has his own quirks and foibles and idiosyncrasies, but a brilliant man and amazing to talk with. Thoroughly enjoyed every opportunity I was to be in the room with him.
Very cool. Josh?
All right. We have a question from, if I butcher the name, I apologize in advance. I haven't been an announcer for a while. So this question's from Alex Paris, and he wants to know, what was it like working at the Big Spin?
Oh, loved it. Jonathan Goodson, Mark's son, was the executive producer. And that's another person who told me a little bit about Mark Goodson, because they didn't have necessarily the finest father-son relationship. So there's, again, more insight into it, interesting relationship, and more insight into the personalities. What was that like? It was great because where was I working? I was working in Lancaster, Palmdale, Monday through Friday. Is that where I was? Yes, on a radio show. And then weekends is when we taped. So I would come down and we would gangbang 4 or 5 of these in a day. Bing, bang, boom with Michael Alejo and Pat Finn. Now, Pat, I just saw recently, Pat is the most wonderful, easygoing, soft-spoken, clever, fun. What a great guy, just a guy's guy. And Michael Alejo was fun. She was there because most of the players, many of them didn't speak English. This is a lottery show, meaning you get on the show by scratching a lottery card or playing a game like that. So you have no control over who's going to play, which made the job tough for these hosts because normally a game show contestant is pre-interviewed.
Yeah, they
has something to say. These people had nothing to say if they spoke English and even less to say if they didn't speak English. So Michael was there to translate. And I'm sure that we ran the times being what they are right now, and this being top of mind, I will tell you, I had no doubt that many of the people who appeared on that show were illegal aliens or undocumented,
Or AI.
whatever the terminology should be. We're conscious of it now, but I guarantee you that more of a few of them were very nervous looking over their shoulder. I have a chance to win $3 million American dollars. Do I not show up because I'm afraid of being discovered? Wow. That's a tough decision to make. So I'm sure some of them were there and just very nervous about being there. But working the show was the question. And it was an absolute joy. Again, these were great people to work with. I don't know any stupid or obnoxious people who work on game shows. They get weeded out very quickly. Yeah, they're gone. This is a job for the people who are the best at what they do and the easiest to work with. So working there was great. Pat and Michael were wonderful. God, I'm going to start to remember Greenspan. I'm going to try to remember, but I will forget some of the other names of folks that I worked with who are Goodson folks, because Jonathan hired them. So they had Goodson experience, and they were all great. And again, it was wonderful. Go down there. I didn't have a lot to learn, to memorize. Yeah. There wasn't a lot of copy. There was a big warm up because there was a lot of stop and start with that show, but that was fine. I'd done lots of warm up to that point. So that was kind of second nature for me. So the bottom line is it was a good time and it was fun.
Wonderful.
All right. Danny?
All right. Well, promote the Game Show Museum in Rochester one more time, because I always thought it was cool how they got the Family Feud board growing then. Was that the same one that they used in the, I heard you talk about this on a podcast, Randy. Was this the same one they used in that Old Navy commercial? Did they bring it out?
They pulled it out of storage for the Old Navy commercial, and it didn't work. The Old Navy commercial, they brought it out, brought all the wiring, the electronics, and they couldn't make it work. Now you got a whole crew there trying to shoot for the day, and they can't make it work. So they just put the board up and they filled it in post. In other words, they
CGI.
Yeah, CGI or whatever. They cheated it in post. And then it went back into storage and then was going to be tossed. And I was like, no, you cannot toss this. And so the calls went around. Bob Bowden's wife was going to throw him out of the house because he had too much stuff already. And I was like, all right, it's mine. And I had it in the living room. I had it in the basement. I had it in the closet. I had it in storage. I had it here. I had it there. I was paying to store it and eventually found a perfect home for it. And we shipped it down there. And Corey Cooper, who's one of the 2 people on Earth who knows how to make that thing work, was sent down to make sure it worked. Corey Cooper, who worked at Goodson, who knows about electronics and staging and stuff like that. Cooper.
The other guy's name is on the tip of my tongue, and one of them is still working.
Well, Teddy Cooper, Theodore Cooper, was Mark Goodson's set designer and electronics maven, who created the lightning round for password where the words pop up and all that stuff. Teddy Cooper's son is Corey Cooper, and that's what Corey Cooper does for a living, not just for game shows, but for the opera and other live performances. So Corey's one of the 2 people who knew how to make that thing work, and the other just retired after 50 years at CBS Electronics.
Woo.
50 years. His name was Bill Monk.
And that's who I was thinking of, was Billy Monk. Yeah.
Billy's the only other guy who would know how to make that work. Billy started at The Price is Right. Started at CBS before The Price is Right. So those early first generation games where the electronics looked like Frankenstein, he knew how to do that. And every generation of electronics all the way through to today's computer stuff. He knows all the generations of stuff. He just retired. They gave him a tremendous buyout. He got remarried. I think he's down in Mexico. He's traveling the world right now. And his son is working one of the games he gave to him, which is Wheel of Fortune. His son and your nephew is doing Wheel of Fortune today.
Nice. For Josh, go ahead.
Okay. Your opinion on The Luckiest Man on Earth. Have you seen it, and what do you
think? America.
Or in America. I'm sorry. Luckiest Man in America. Yeah. I misread.
It's the unluckiest movie in the world.
Yeah.
I think is what you wanted to say. I had no expectation of it being anything more than it is, because Bill Carruthers, that's Bill Carruthers' son, Bill BYL, who worked on the original Press Your Luck, and was on set when Larson, did that incredible win. So he knew every detail about it, and he got contacted by the producers of this movie 2 years before it came out to start to impart knowledge and information and give them the backstory. Now, Bill and I had become friends over the years, worked pilots, and had been socially active, and then got busy again together when Press Your Luck came back to ABC with Elizabeth Banks.
Yeah.
So he and I became like in a rotation again, seeing each other regularly. And that's when he got called by the producers of the movie to talk about it. And he would tell me, I told them that, and they don't want to hear that part. They're not going to use this. They don't want to use that. And they want to have him going out to the parking lot during the taping. And I'm like, that could never happen. So I understood from Bill, they wanted all the information, but they were using a lot of poetic or creative
licensing for it.
Yeah, to do what they wanted to make it a more interesting movie. I'm no expert to tell you what works in a movie or not, but I do know this was never going to be a documentary and was always going to have a great deal of creative license. Okay. So my expectations were very limited, and they lived up to it.
Okay. What is your favorite memories working with George Gregg, who I also met in person last year, on Make a Sneak? What's your favorite memories working with him?
Fantastic. I love George. Two things come to mind immediately, which is when we would tape on a Friday at the end of a tape week, we would all go to his house. He would have an open party. Can you imagine? Open bar, he had a pinball machine and all sorts of fun stuff. And there'd be 30, 40 of us there. And a few women who didn't work the show somehow seemed to show up. I don't know how that worked. But it just made for a fun evening party that would go on pretty late. And it was great. So I was going to ask that. I would know no other host in the world I know of who brings everybody home to his house to wrap every week. The other great memory is that George had done warm-up for a number of shows before he became a host. So he knew my job well and used to, in the stop downs, warm up, you do the warm up before the host comes out. But then every time there's a commercial break or a stop for production, you're doing more warm up. And in that show, there's a lot of stop start because between every round, they have to think of stuff to say. You were the mathematician who didn't know this or that, whatever, So there was a writing, if you will, between each round. So point being, there was a lot of warm up during the course of the shooting, not like The Price is Right, where you just do the show, stop, start, stop, start. So his warm up background made us into a team. So we're doing set me up, I'll set you up. We knew many of the same jokes. So, he set it up. I give a punchline, vice versa. He would come and we would do two-man shtick together. And it was so much fun to have a partner to do warm-up with. And he was very generous with his time and energy to make my job so much easier. And
me and Charles have seen his warm-ups.
Any great warm-up and any great host really likes people. And that's the secret of being a great personality. And George truly liked people. And that made him a great host and fun to work with. Well, so those are two memories.
And I think, Randy, you might agree with this. George plays off of Drew Carey very well. So they make a good combination. Yep. One will start something while the other will finish it, which is really good.
Exactly the point I was making. Playing off of each other, whether it's warm-up or on the air, the same dynamic applies. Drew and George, myself and George. So I think it's wonderful.
I think, honestly, once George, stepped in as announcer, I think that's when it really became Drew's Price is Right show because, when Drew first got started, he was struggling a bit, and plus, they had the own announcer of The Price is Right, so it took Drew a while to make it into his own show. You know what I mean?
Totally agree. Totally agree.
Yeah. And I also want to ask you this. What do you think of people who complain about today's game shows, but only talk about like the old game shows back in the day and don't really like how it is today. What do you have to say about that?
I got to say that everybody gets to say whatever they want. That
Yeah.
that was the shortest answer I could give you all day. I mean, there's a different dynamic at play, and I understand. I appreciate and love the old shows. I understand, though, from a more of a business standpoint, perhaps than other people, why the current shows do what they do. So you may, a fan of old game shows may turn on something today and say, well, that's stupid, or that's crap, or that's ridiculous. Why did they change that? Why did they need it? Blah, 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 and be very unhappy with those changes. I may prefer, and I'm not saying this is the case, but I may prefer the old format of Family Feud. Let's take a wild example.
Yeah.
But I understand why they do what they do today. So it doesn't turn me off as much because I understand what they're trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like this tastes terrible. Well, I know you were trying to cook up a nice dish with peas and carrots, and maybe it didn't come out the way you liked it, but I understand why it tastes that way.
Understood. Let's give these guys 10 minutes here to do a tribute to Wink Martindale. Unfortunately, he passed away recently. What is your favorite memories, stories of Wink Martindale that you want to talk about for the last 10 minutes here?
Me?
Yeah, your favorite memories of Wink Martindale for
like,
last time.
It sounded like it was you guys who were going to talk.
Oh, no.
I never met him.
But you obviously shut me up at any point, incidentally. You want to say. I don't know where to start to talk about Wink because he meant so much to me, because there was so much about him to love, and because of the depth and width of his experience in the business. If you said to me, talk about Peter Tomarken hosted a limited number of shows. There's not so much to say, but Wink started in the early days of Top 40 radio. He was there the night that Elvis Presley was discovered, first time any record of his was ever played on the radio. He had a lifelong friendship with Elvis. He got into major market radio. He was a big star in Los Angeles radio, worked the top 3 or 4 stations before he went into television. Then he gets into television, and he doesn't just do a show or two. He becomes one of the iconic all-time greats. He hosted as many or one more or one less than Bill Cullen. Depends how you do the count. But the number of shows that Wink did is within one of Bill Cullen, or maybe equal. And depending who you ask, again, is it a local show, a network show, blah, blah, blah. But my point being, he became the guy. He did more game shows than anyone else. So you got this radio, you got this music background, you've got the game show background, and his ability to make magic on any format. Now, I will say that he was not the fastest study of a new format, because and that's true for Bergeron and Tom Kennedy especially. These guys didn't see it once and host it, because there's a lot of intricacies to some of these formats. And the only way you can host a show, and Tom explained this to me before Wink did, the only way I can do my job as a host is to know the format and the rules without thinking. Only then can I be free to ad lib and bring in personality or relate to the players or do something that's interesting and entertaining. So it's tough unless you've seen these guys study a format to understand what it takes to grasp it all. And Wink, like the other guys, took his time to digest all of the rules. Well, now, if they both get it wrong, does the third player get to play? Do we do a toss-up? Do I repeat the question? There's a lot to know. And Wink learned it all and then had it at the palm of his hand. We never had to stop tape for that. I had to respect that. And Wink did things that only Wink could discover how to do. Now, I don't want to get out of frame here and go and grab stuff, but if you have a bonus round and there's 10 questions in 60 seconds, that kind of thing. Okay. So the questions come up on cards. All right. I would have had 10 cards here to show you if I thought about it. So you got a stack of cards. Now, if you answer wrong, I put that card here in the back of my hand.
I remember. Yeah.
And then you still have the other 9 in the front of your hand. You get the next one right. That one goes here, but at this, not like this, but like this. Okay. So the way you handle the cards, correct, wrong, or pass, allows you to go back. Let's review the ones you missed. Now let's look at the ones you passed. And these are the ones we never got to ask. So he's got all of, if you just put them behind one another, now you're screwed, right? So there's
all confused up.
Yeah, there's a lot of tricks like that he developed over the years that gave me tremendous respect, because that's something you don't think about. So now I'm talking about minutia. I'm talking about little things like that. Let me give you the overall. This guy came from small town America. Wink was a Bible Belt kind of guy, meaning he's not a wise ass from Brooklyn. You know, he's from the heartland. The heartland. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That, you know, good people. Give you the shirt off their back, not full of sarcasm and cynicism and anger or all that. Just a good soul who finds the good in people and finds the good in you, which then brings out the best in you. If somebody expects the best from you, you tend to step up and want to please them and give them your best. So Wink had a personality that made him a natural for a public profile, be it radio, television, in person, and was studied in his craft, took it seriously, and never wanted to go home until the day was done. I mean, he was a professional. On the personal side, I had a personal relationship with him above and beyond anything I think I could say of any other host. Jim McCrell and I have gotten tight. So it's not a contest, but as far as the people I've worked with, Wink far and away the tightest personal friendship. Been to his house, been to my house, came to my house warming at birthday parties and blah, 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 blah. And just a dear, lovely man with the most wonderful wife on the planet. Sandy Martindale is wonderful in many ways, some mirroring what I said about Wink, just a kind person. The other things about Sandy you may not know is she grew up in the television business. Her father ran nightclubs. Her father, operated nightclubs and knew all the stars, all the singers, all the comedians, all the people who played nightclubs, and therefore understood the business from her father and from the stars that she interacted with. And that made her a tremendous support for Wink. You know, if your wife is a school teacher and you're in construction, there's not a whole lot your wife can say about when you laid the mold for that concrete pour. Did you use 2x4s or did you skimp it? There's no way, if you're not in the same business, you have a clue. But she was in the same business and understood how to support Wink, how to help Wink, how to be there for the things he needed and to remind him of some things, that just to be a general support, to know the business so well. So a kind lady who understood the business could offer support to a guy who was just a dear, dear man who rose to the heights of his business, hosting more shows than anyone else. Can't say a whole lot more than that.
If there's any game show out there that need a game show host, he was the perfect fit for it. And when he passed away, I thought of you and me immediately because of how you two were very close. And for every game show fan out there, you, Randy, everybody, we have 1,000 prayers because he's only the few left that is from the game show classics back in the day, and we don't really have that much left. It's very unfortunate, and my honest hope is that decades from now people will still be talking about game shows because it's not a lot of few legends left, but I want to thank Randy here for continuing on that generation, as in right now, because
tradition.
Tradition. Excuse me. Because you've been around here for many decades, I assumed you had a diary or something written all these game show stories down or whatever. It's just amazing that wrote a book about it and carried that to the next generation.
Thank you. It's a joy, a pleasure, and an honor to carry the flame forward. And I thank you for doing that as well.
Yes, and me being 21 years old, that would be my goal for the next. I'm not sure how long I'll be live for, but that's up to who God knows. But Charles, you want to say anything to Ranking, like any thanks or whatever?
Just thanks for coming on with us. Your stories, as always, are amazing.
Thank you, Josh.
Yeah.
Thank you, David.
Yeah. And Danny, want to say anything? Danny?
Thanks a million again, Randy, for coming on. Very nice talking with you again.
Appreciate
it. I enjoyed it. TV Inside Out. Go buy it if you haven't bought it already, folks.
Thank you. And stick around because two things I want to say. When you rewind this and rewatch it or repeat it or whatever the terminology is, watch and see just how much timing is in my head and in my body after all these decades of game shows. There's a little clock in the corner. I think you can see it. And when I say thank you, goodbye, it goes 59, 1 minute. In other words, we close the top of the hour at exactly 1 hour to the second is when I gave you an out. If this were a network show and the next show was coming on, I gave you the out. I gave you the perfect, clean, crystal clean, finished out.
And that, my friends, is a master.
I can't help but do it. That's the problem. I can't help but do shit like that. But the other thing I want to say to you, and I said the S word. And
hey, I need to watch the snow.
The other thing I want to tell you is, I've been very involved with Television City now since.
I was gonna bring that up, and I didn't have an opening to do that.
And I'm going long here, and I assume
it's all good.
You went a minute after I shut it up. I figured that I could go a second minute after I gave you the out, which is Television City is a phenomenal property. It's a phenomenal business. It's a piece of history.
Amen.
And thankfully, it's going to the original studios are going to stay as they were. And my access to the building, I'm getting to a point here, has been endless. I got as much as keys to the kingdom, if you will, to go through and explore. I also was given many, many, many copies from the decades the place has been around of the blueprints.
Oh my.
So I know the entire building back and forth. This is every floor of every aspect. I know which part of the building you want to look at for a quick second.
Well, the only place I could find my way blindfolded through artist entrance to 33, I could get there without directions.
Okay. Well, I have the entire building, but here's the part that you're probably most interested in.
Yeah.
There's the 4 studios. And the control rooms and the makeup room and the sound effects room and all that stuff. So the entire building. So the point being on all this, and then I'll shut up, between the access of walking it, looking through the closets, looking through all the nooks and crannies, having the floor plans and the original blueprints all the way back to 1950, and having spoken to all the people that I've interplayed with over the years working there, the next book is From Television City in Hollywood, Secrets of this. No, how do I have it? Behind the Scenes in America's Television Factory, something like that.
I love it.
It is the most complete story that will ever be written about the building, the shows, the stars, and the crazy things that have happened there.
Will that building be able to? Is there going to be like public tours or whatever for fans in the future?
I'm giving tours now. There were tours when the place opened 75 years ago. And they've asked me to come back and give tours now periodically, like once a month, once every other month. So far, they've just been inviting their VIP guests. But if you're we were talking at the very beginning about being creative in who you contact and how you make contacts and work your way into the business. If you're very creative, you just might find somebody
to get
at that building now who could actually potentially hook you up. And it's not my place. It's not my place to invite anybody, but it's also not my place to say, don't pursue it if you think you can, and have a happy ending with it. And you live in town.
Yes.
Listen to what he's saying. Trust me, I know this.
And also, I want to say,
being creative and not a pain in the ass is an art.
Yes. And then I want to say also thank you for signing my book as well, back
Very
a few
welcome.
years ago.
I'm so glad you have it,
Yes.
because in your hands, it means a lot, because you care about the contents. So there you go,
Yes.
guys. I just want to give you a little extra plug about what's happening next. And there is life and love still in those walls at Television City.
Thank goodness.
That's good.
Thank
And
God.
now, as we come up to the 5-minute after mark, I say thank you, guys. Have a great night. Appreciate
Yes.
it.
You too, Randy.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Randy West, everybody.
Randy West. Thank you.
All right. Well, we are gonna take a little commercial break, and we'll continue on this program. We have some more segments coming up, and we'll do that after this break. So stay tuned.
I had no idea you were so full of hope.
Hello?
Get James warming up.
Excuse me?
Come on, guys, quit playing games. Get Bobby up right now.
I think you might have the wrong number.
What? Who's this?
Who's this? Brother, you called me. You got the wrong number,
Hey,
okay?
I don't know what you guys doing.
Freak.
I had no idea you were so full of hoe. I really didn't.
Who was Bob Barker talking about? Was he talking to Diane or Holly or? That's my know.
I don't know who was talking off camera, but it was an interesting conversation from what I saw.
I'm not sure, but no. Let's time to kill here before we do some. We're gonna play some games on here. Games here on here on. I can't speak because that was very touching at the end of the interview. We have some. We're gonna do a game of Price or Luck. So down here in just 10 or 15 minutes or so. But I want to be on here and talk to you guys about your favorite memories of game shows. How do you get into game shows? All that good stuff. I will start with Charles here. How did you get into game shows, and why does it mean to you so much?
Well, mine was is very simple. I started watching Price is Right with my grandfather when I was about age 2, because after he lost both legs being diabetic, he was kind of housebound, and he would watch us when we were younger, and he would always have the Price is Right on. So I got really into the Price is Right, and still am to this day. And then other game shows just kind of followed, because that was what we watched back in the 80s and 90s when I was growing up. That's what you watched during the day if you were home, was game shows.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what was your? And I know your favorite game show is Price is Right, of course. But what other game shows that were also your favorites other than Price is Right?
I was a fan. I was a fan of Pressure Luck. I like watching reruns of because Match Game really wasn't on when I was growing up, but I got to watch the reruns of Match Game. Because Gene Rayburn with the panel was always fun to watch. Any Goodson game show, because again, Mark Goodson was a genius when it came to game shows. So anything with that had Mark's name on it, you knew it was going to be good.
There we go. Yeah, I agree. Danny, how do you get into game shows?
Pretty much starts at the age of either 2 or 3 watching Game Show Network. I do have vague memories of seeing Match Game and Family Feud with Richard Dawson and Ray Combs, and then their originals like Lingo, Friend or Foe, Russian Roulette. Probably the show that I've seen the least statistically. I hate to say it, but that would be The Price is Right, because usually my parents, they wouldn't let me stay home sick from school, so they always made me go to school, so I didn't get to watch The Price is Right. So I was never big on The Price is Right lore, and probably because GSN hasn't shown that since 2000, I want to say. If GSN did give Price is Right more attention, it might have been more on my radar. But now watching GSN as a little boy, and I still love the nostalgia of it to this day with the GSN archive project we have going. So
yeah, tell us about that. I guess it's just where you're.
It's a website for nerds that want to document old television schedules. Nickelodeon's fans have the most important one, which is Nick Story Archives, but I'll show you the one that we have for GSN here. Take you to one of my favorite eras here. Let's go to June 2004.
And how many months or whatever it took for you to make this?
Well, I got the idea in mid 2024, I want to say, but it wasn't me who put in all the dates. That was somebody else. I don't know how long it took them to do it, but it was good. But it is a good project, I have to say. But here's an example. Let's go to June 29th, 2004 on this day. And this is all verified through old website schedules and commercials and shit. So it's not like we're just making this up. Then you have on this day in the morning, you get up and watch the all new Let's Make a Deal. That was the 80s version. And then Family Feud, the syndicated version with Richard Dawson. Then Wheel of Fortune season 6 at this time. Here's a screen grab from that day. Then Jeopardy, they were showing season 14. Then at 11 a.m., they were showing the short-lived Arsenio Hall version of Star Search. I don't know why. And then they had the 80s version, I believe, of the Newlywed Game, and then back-to-back Love Connection, then Match Game 78, I want to say. Then Friend or Foe, Whammy, Lingo, Russian Roulette, Weakest Link, which was the Anne Robinson version. Then back-to-back classic Family Feud with Dawson, then Combs, then more Match Game. Lingo, Star Search again, Millionaire, which they're still showing 20 years later, if you can believe that. Although in the morning, back these times, it was their prime time, game. Like, hey, watch Millionaire. This was a recent game show. Nowadays, it's for the retro era on Game Show Network. And then Dog Eat Dog, which was hosted by Brooke Burns. And then GSN's original show, Extreme Dodgeball. That's one of Brandon Beauregard's favorite game show adjacent shows, you could call it. Then at 10:30, you can watch Kenny versus Spenny, which was just a reality show from Canada that GSN picked up as a way to appeal to like the teenagers staying up late to watch GSN. I don't know. Then Street Smarts, hosted by Frank Nicotero. That was a fun show. Then at 11:30 p.m., they had Who Dares Wins, which was a show from Australia, which GSN got the rights to air for some time. And then Dog Eat Dog again. Dodgeball, Kenny Spenny, Street Smarts, Who Dares, Millionaire. And then at 4 a.m, they actually went till that time. You could watch the Black and White Overnight Hour, which was a Password in 1963 or 4, hosted by Alan Ludden. And then What's My Line?
What's My Line? That was a classic from the 50s, all that good stuff. Charles, did you have a favorite black and white game show back then that GSN airs currently, or you're not into
they don't
that?
do them anymore. They don't do them.
No, they don't do them anymore. But if I had to research it and go on YouTube, and this is showing my age, but if I had to pick black and white, I would probably go What's My Line, because I always kind of liked how they introduced that show.
Mm-hmm.
I have a affinity for game show announcers, because I think it's a very hard job. It could be a very hard job to do depending on what kind of show you're working, and because most shows, the announcer opens the show, does a mid-break, and closes it. But like Randy was saying earlier tonight, when he worked Price is Right, there's a stack of copy to read. I mean, that's a hard job, because you have to have that internal clock in your head to know when you got to be done.
Yeah. But what about you, Danny? Do you have a favorite, or
A favorite black and white? I guess either To Tell the Truth, because some of those were pretty funny.
I forgot about that one. That's a good one.
Either that, or I do enjoy the old black and white Password.
Password? Yeah.
With the whispering at the password is dog.
The password is that was good.
The password is What is your favorite Password Plus, or what my personal favorite password is? Super Password. Yeah.
We finally beat Medicare.
Oh, he threw it. You threw that soundbite in, David.
We were talking about that before the show.
Oh, goodness gracious.
If David's talking, I don't hear him.
Yeah,
I had to refresh my. Some reason my microphone keeps doing that. We have this. That is the Nintendo Wii Me channel music. Which that also, speaking of, Regular West announced the Price is Right That Games video game back in the day.
He yes, it was he and Rich Fields that did that because his voice is on there.
Both of them, my mistake.
Yep. And
okay.
Both of them did that.
I didn't get to ask the one question I wanted to ask Randy was, where do you get your ideas from?
Okay, no, McDonald.
Whoa! Oh,
I'm just kidding. That's the question we're gonna ask Mike Richards when we interview him. Where does he get his ideas?
Probably in 2034 would be your best date, Danny. 2034.
Look up there.
I am pleading the fifth on that last comment. I will not say for it.
2034. Let's go. We're gonna go to Chicago and meet some old friends.
That's right. David, I want to know, David, when are you going to Brooklyn?
Brooklyn, New York. Probably 2034 as well. I don't know. I'm interested. See the old sites of the polo grounds that they the staircase or whatever they was.
Did Randy used to live in New York, or did he just travel there? He did used to live there, Josh.
He might have. I remember a story.
That's what I was thinking before we went on the air.
Well, and I almost was going to say, and we all know what a Yankees fan David is, but that's for another show.
I am a Red Sox fan for life. Despite them trading my, Devers, which.
That's why I said that, David.
They're actually playing Rafael Devers in San Francisco tonight, but I am not watching that because I had to do this interview.
That's for the other show.
Instead, thank God, because I didn't want to watch that crap. And they're probably gonna lose anyway, so I blame Danny. But
that's nice. Danny gets blamed. He wasn't even in that one.
I blame. You're just here to watch and touch grass, when people cause shenanigans on social media, I tell them touch grass, okay? It's good for you. And go for a walk.
It was turn on channel 4 and watch one.
Oh yeah, tell the story about that to the people who are new. Okay.
Well, one time, I occasionally go to these polka festivals, and one of those, actually, Josh, it's in Schaumburg. Every year in February, there's a polka fest in Schaumburg.
I've been there.
Really?
I've been. It's fun. They're fun to do.
To Schaumburg, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So we were there, and we were in a hospitality room at like 1 a.m. Half of the musicians were drunk, and my friend Jeff from Milwaukee, he's drunk as hell, but he's still playing his accordion. He said, "Okay, Danny, what do you want me to play?" And just to troll him, I go, "But why don't you play the theme from Jeopardy?" And then he looks at me like, "Jeopardy? Jeopardy? Are you nuts? Why the hell would you want me to play that?" And then someone yelled out, because he's a game show fan, and Jeff says to me, "Well, turn on channel 4 and watch one. We got to play something else."
Oh, good Lord.
Hi, Brandon Beauregard.
That is a great story. And we're trying to get the price of the game going, but we're just talking about game shows here real quick. Yeah. What do you think of that interview, Emo?
That was good.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Well, next time I'm in Schaumburg, I'll definitely let you know.
Yeah, because I don't live too far from there, so you hit me up. Let me know.
Oh yeah, and we're going back to Cleveland again.
Probably not. No. But last time I was in Chicago, I went to a Blackhawks game, so that was fun as well.
Yeah, well, my friend works security for the Bulls, Blackhawks, and White Sox, so he sees a lot of those games. What'd you think?
Oh, it was fun. It was fun. Yeah.
I've been to every Chicago sports team. The only one I have not seen is the Blackhawks yet. And I've lived in Chicago. I've lived in Illinois all my life, so it's like.
Well, if you ever go to one, game, it's fun, but it's a little bit cold. But I would say this about hockey, and I give hockey all the credit in the world. The games are very exciting, and it gets right down to the wire. It goes to overtime, once in a while. It's a very fun, exciting sport. I definitely encourage people to check out hockey. And going to minor league hockey is fun as well. I go there minor league games a lot. It's pretty fun. So yeah, and I would say this: the fact that the Panthers, okay, they won back-to-back championships, and they live in nothing but sunny and rainy state. They don't have snow there. It's crazy. They won back-to-back championships, and they live in a state where it's nothing but sun and rain. And I'm no offense, Emo, but hockey is. They went back-to-back championships, and it's not a. No, I don't know. I might be saying that because they traded Brad Marshall from us, but it's sad. Haven't been to a Panthers game, Emo? I assume not, but that's awesome.
I've only been to one Lightning game, and that was it.
Oh, yeah, Lightning. Okay. Yeah. That's okay. Let me see. But yeah. What's this? Oh, hello there, Call. Let me say hello to the others that were here in live chat. So return hello to that for Dude, Price is Right fan, Jacob, Nancy, Dom, JK, Jason Kelly, Charlie, Mike Mattis, Gary Collins, Mr. Char, I can't pronounce his name, I'm sorry. And DJ, that's a cool name, DJ, being a DJ, get it? I should be a DJ one of these days, that'd be an interesting job. We also have Seth being here, Corey, to those people, and Remix. So for those who are in the chat, welcome to all, or thanks to all, one of those two. So Danny, tell us about your favorite old classic game show and current game show. Right now.
You're asking me?
Yeah.
That's a tough one. I guess of the classics, my Desert Island show would be Match Game, just because there's so much of it,
Yeah.
But of course, there's so much of Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune, but I would probably Match Game be my Desert Island show. But probably the best one of the ones that are on nowadays, it would probably be, when you stack them all together, I'd probably say Wheel of Fortune.
Wheel of Fortune. Okay.
And Jeopardy. Jeopardy's a close second because, Ken Jennings, he's keeping that tradition. He's keeping the Jeopardy tradition going just as very good. Very good.
Oh, definitely. Josh, your favorite classic and current game show, but not Price is Right.
Oh, you would throw that on me too, wouldn't you? Somehow I knew he was going to do that to me. I would probably have to go Wheel of Fortune and probably Jeopardy because I watch them both.
Cool. Mr. Beauregard, favorite classic and current game show.
Both versions of one. Versions of one.
Oh, Pressure Dog. Well,
there you go, Dan. Yeah, you got it.
I was mouthing it. Yeah, I was like, it's either going to be Greed or Pressure.
No, Greed's number 3.
Okay, I was close because we just we did a tier list of it last week. Me, David, and Brandon. So
yeah,
and Greed's good. Greed's very good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, great. They should bring Greed back. That would be interesting.
I'm surprised. Yeah, I'm kind of surprised they haven't tried it. I mean, they can. I'm kind of surprised they made the host change between Patton Oswalt and Joel McHale on 1% Club, that's another good show. I enjoy 1% Club. We'll see.
I don't see Patton Oswalt really as a game show host. No offense, Patton, if you're out there watching this.
Yeah.
But...
Patton was good. He was good.
Mm.
Anyway, David, when are we gonna get Press Your Luck started?
Let me get that one. I did fight
I'm unfortunate wait for them to go in, but I guess we can do that right now because I was gonna have someone come in, but I will get that one to at least share screen. Do you want us to do whammy or just regular press without game?
I'd be fine with whammy. What do you guys think?
Either one. I'm good with either one.
You want to get that rolling email?
Okie dokie.
Yep, yeah, Brandon knows the controls better than I do, so.
Okay. All right, let's get going.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I probably do a lot better with whammy than I do a match game.
Yeah, we let Brandon host that game one time. It was okay. Green paper.
Get ready to match the stars.
Oh yeah, Jeff, we are going to be taping a match game on Wednesday night if you'd like to join in.
I'll have to see where I'm at on Wednesday.
Right.
You guys know where I'm at on Wednesday.
Not the Price is Right, are you?
No, that's not. That's not at least for another month.
I was going to say, where else would it be on Wednesday night, John?
Probably at home watching Price is Right. Well, not reruns yet. We're not in reruns yet. Thank God.
Yeah.
Or working on the project I have out in the garage, but that I can't say much about at the moment.
Yeah, it's tough working outside, these days.
Now, I want to know with Match Game and Hollywood Squares as sort of a good combination. What other game shows would you combine?
We just talked about that in the interview segment.
How about this? How about Match Game Funny You Should Ask Hour? That way you can have the same 6 celebrities.
Oh, God.
Bring any.
I had one idea. Press your luck, but the question round is Jeopardy.
Ooh.
That'd be hard.
Interesting theory. No whammies, but you have to answer in the form of a question.
How about this? Weakest link? No. Well, that wouldn't really work, would it? How about dog eat dog, but instead of voting them off to play those stupid physical challenge games, you make them play pricing games. And then if they lose the pricing game, they go to the dog pound. But if they win, you can send one of the other 6 people.
Oh, there's a good cross. You know, one of the game shows that doesn't get mentioned a lot, and I don't know if you guys know about this one, is from the 80s, early 90s. You have Double Dare with Mark Summers and Finders Keepers.
I'm familiar with Double Dare, yeah.
Both Nickelodeon game shows back in the day.
That is true.
And yes, and David, if you want to look up Finders Keepers, it is out there on YouTube. It's hard to find, but it is there.
If you're a finder, that means you're a keeper.
Yeah, but I'm pumped.
Let me.
Finders Keepers, hosted by.
Here you go, Josh.
There you go. The rim shot. Yeah.
Yeah. Finders Keepers, hosted by Larry Toffler, wasn't it?
Yep, he was the second host. The first host was a soap opera star named Wesley.
I thought Wesley did it too.
Wesley Yore. He was the first one that did it.
Yeah, I thought Wesley did it.
And he was actually the better one. Kevin Toffler, I didn't like that version of it. That's just showing my age, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Mr. Oh, what happened?
Okay, that's better.
Yeah, he's just getting his whammy game going.
Alright.
Does that sound familiar?
Yes.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Before we actually start the game, here's start screening. Danny, what was your favorite part about that interview with Randy?
Well, probably I liked his question to Josh's question about getting somewhere in Hollywood because
Well, and I'll talk to you guys about this off the air, but it surprised me what he said. I was sure he was going to go with, oh, you should take this class or this class, and no, it was the exact opposite.
Yeah. Yes.
Which is as David would know from our conversations. I've been trying to do that for the last 18 years.
Yeah. Hey, if you know people,
yeah,
you'll get there.
Exactly, and it's hard convincing those people that you're serious about it, I guess.
Yeah. But
because there'd be jobs that I would do for free.
Yeah. And also it's all about money. All about.
Yes, I know you need money. I know you need money to survive, David, but still, I would work a certain place for free.
It's all about that money.
not all the time.
And also the transportation and all of that stuff as well. Okay, I guess since Emo's hosting here, until someone shows up.
All right.
We can do me, Danny, and Josh. And I think, yes, and once there's time after this, we'll do another game of Price It Up. Why the heck not? I mean, Whammy, excuse me. After, just for fun, if there's, more people that show up there, we'll do a second game of Whammy.
Okay.
Ready to get started, Emo?
Go for it.
Yeah.
All right. Start hosting.
All right, here we are. Another game of the game where you can spin your way to big bucks and great prizes. We have David versus Danny versus Josh. All right, I ask you three. Are you ready to press your luck?
No.
Yeah.
It does. I'm ready.
Okay.
I will destroy the Krusty Krab.
All right. Everybody's going to start off with $1,000, and you can add to it by taking a chance on this big game board up here. Look at all the money and prizes that you can win. Each time you spin, you can add to your total by landing on a square that contains either a cash value or prize, except for that. If you land on one of those whammies, he'll come out and take all your cash and prizes and put them right into his own big bank, which begins at $5,000. All right? Yeah. You don't want to add to that, that's for sure.
Go for it.
If you, however, ever want to, you can whammy the whammy by landing on the big bank square up here. If you do that, well, unlike the original on Game Show Network and back in 2003, you automatically get the big bank here. Because I don't have questions.
Oh, so it's easy.
Only the player in the lead at the end of this first round will have the advantage of going last in the final round. And we will start this game with you, David. You have $1,000. You ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Let's put the big board in motion, see what you got to it. Yell stop if you have to. Here we go.
All right, come on. Big bucks, no whammies, and step forward.
Stop at a diamond pendant. That is worth $1,920.
Okay.
All right, David has $2,920. Good start. Now we go to Danny. Danny, you have $1,000. You ready?
Let's play.
Let's go to the board.
Whammy.
Shut up. We'll dedicate this spin to Randy West and stop.
Oh, 3,000. Just like that. Up to 4,000, Danny. Now we go to Josh.
All right, here we go.
Right. Yep, here comes your first spin.
Big bucks, no whammies, stop.
Stop at a golf set that is worth $680.
But I don't golf.
All right.
We'll make you golf.
You have 1,680, Josh. Everybody's gone down the line. Very good. Not a single whammy, but things are going to get tougher because more whammies are coming on the board.
Ooh.
Now, from here on out, players, remember you can freeze at any time if you're afraid of that whammy, or if you think you got enough to win the round, or you can press your luck again and try to grab some more. So, David, you have 2009-20, second place. Do you want to freeze or do you want to press your luck?
David, your mic messed up.
I'm going to get the computer and microphone before I do anything else. 2009-20, good thing it's not 2020 on the scoreboard. I'm going to continue on.
Let's go.
Big bucks, no whammies, please, and stop the board.
Oh, there's a whammy.
Oh, poor David got a whammy.
Which one of those?
Hi, Whammy Faye Baker here. I just want to thank you for all your generous donations.
Yeah, donations my a-hole.
Hey, those are the donations towards the Game Show Museum.
And that's David puts the big bank at 7,920. You're not out of the game, just out of the first round for the moment. Danny,
yeah,
we're on to you. You have the lead for now, 4,000. What do you want to do? Freeze or press your luck?
Call me crazy, but I think I'm gonna freeze.
You're gonna freeze, okay?
What?
You're crazy.
Danny, you are frozen at $4,000. So, Josh, it's only you now. You have 1,680.
I'm gonna press my luck.
Here we go.
No whammies, no whammies. Let's get that money for the Game Show Museum and stop.
Stop at a PlayStation worth 1,200. All right, 2,880. Okay. All right, now, Josh, before you decide what you're going to do, we got to add more whammies to the board. All right, what are you going to do?
I'm pressing my luck. Let's go.
All right, here we go.
No whammies, no whammies. Stop.
Stop at a surfboard that's worth $794.
I don't surf, but okay.
$3,674.
Sorry.
Hey, what's up? I mainly came in here 1 second because I'm trying to avoid the mob. I'm not talking about the literal mob, like in terms of like mafia. I'm talking about the mob, like people. Just got done working the Cody Johnson concert. Got to do that again tomorrow. But let's see. Let me find something real quick.
Oh, go back to the screen. There we go. All right. Want to continue on the emo?
All right. Okay. We're in the middle of the game here. Now, Josh, once again, I'm afraid we got to add more whammies to the board.
Bring it on. Let's press that luck.
All right, then. Here we go.
No whammies, no whammies. Let's keep the luck going. No whammies and stop.
Stop at a day at the races. That is worth $560. At 4,234, now you have the lead.
That's what it costs.
Unfortunately, now we got to add more whammies to the board.
May I pause this for a moment because I do want to show this to David. He may not have seen it, and the audience may not have seen it while we hear honking in the background, but you know, it is what it is. But
okay,
a network exclusive outside my community post. And there will be more meaning behind this regarding certain things, but until then, until more updates come up, I won't say any further. However, well, yeah, look at this sexy ass photo. It's probably the best logo I've ever made. And here it is at full screen.
Ah, cool. I'll give it A+.
Not an A+++, you bastard.
Well, I didn't know we had to go more than that, but yeah, stopping my failures. No pun intended.
Okay. All right, there you go. Anyway, I'll leave you to your game, you schmucks. Anyway, shout out to all of you. Mr. Beauregard, my woman, my lovely fiance, sends you her regards. She adores you. She's your national treasure. She wants to buy you Blue's Clues plushies. And yeah, anyway, I've told her, I said, he probably has like a fucking 1,800 collection of them, you know, but it is what it is. Anyway, gentlemen, y'all take it easy. I may pop back in here later. I don't know, but most likely I won't. But if I do, well, yeah. Anyway, ciao for now, gentlemen. Peace.
And also during this commercial break, Emo, do you recognize this?
I'm looking at the game. I'm not looking at the.
Oh, okay. I'll show you after the game. All right, let's continue on.
Oh wait, I'm looking at the stream from the other game. I don't think I recognize those two CD. I'll have to look again, but after once after the game, you'll have to show those CDs again. But
DVDs, but
all right, back to the game, Josh.
All right, we're gonna press our luck. Let's get
again. Even though he has the lead, he's gonna go.
Of course, I'm gonna go. No whammies, and stop.
Stop at $1,000 up to $5,234. All right.
Then you know what?
I'll not gonna add any more whammies, but
I'll freeze it at this point.
What?
I'll freeze at this point.
Okay, you're gonna freeze this time.
I'm at a good number.
All right. You are now frozen at 5,234, and that will do it for the first round. At the end, we have him. We have David with $0 in a whammy. Then we have Danny with $4,000. And Josh, you have the lead, 5,234, 7,920 in the big bank. And now we are going to go to our spin round. Round you three. All right. This gives all three of you 5 chances to earn some spins for the final round of the game. The more spins you have, the better chance you have of winning. David, we'll start with you. You ready?
Yes, I am. Let's go.
All right, here comes your first chance at some spins right now.
Spins, please, and stop the board. Up.
What?
Up. I said stop the board.
Oh, okay. I didn't hear you correctly, but there you go.
Okay.
All right, there's still 4 more chances to get some spins. Danny, we're on to you.
Okay.
Here comes your first chance. Let's go.
All right, let's get a spin, please. Come on, and stop.
All right, 1 spin for you. Good start. All right. Nice job. Josh.
All right, here we go.
Here comes your first try. Let's go.
And stop the board.
3. Look at that.
Wow.
Good for you. 3 spins for Josh. Now, everybody's second chance. David, back to you. Let's get some big ones this time.
All right, here we go. This one is for Boston. Stop the board.
All right, there you go. There's a spin for you. Have 1 spin for now. Danny, here comes your second try at some spins right now.
Here we go. No whammies. And stop.
All right, 1 spin for you. You now have 2 spins. All right, Josh, can you grab another 3? Let's find out.
Let's try it.
Here we go.
Let's do it. Come on, big number, and stop the board.
All right, that's 1 spin for you now. You're up 4 spins. Still, there are 3 more tries for every one of you. So, David, gonna get back to you. Here comes your 3rd try right now.
All right. Come on, big spins and stop the board, please.
All right, there's a spin for you. Puts you at 2 spins. Now, Danny, let's see if you can grab more spins on your 3rd chance.
Let's get 2 for 99. And stop.
All right, 1 spin right there.
Now we need 3 for 99.
Okay. Now let's go back to you, Josh.
All right, here we go.
See if you can grab another.
Let's
Here we go.
And stop that board.
1 spin. All right, not too bad. 5 spins. 2 more chances for all 3 of you. David, here comes your 4th chance.
All right, big bucks. No win. Big spins. I'm sorry. And stop the board.
All right, one spin. Up to 3 now.
3, 5.
Danny, you also have 3. Maybe grab a little bit more. Let's find out. Here we go.
I want to play Among the Stars a little more. And stop.
There it is. 3 spins.
Big number.
All right, Danny, that puts you at 6 spins. Josh, let's see if you could either tie with Danny or jump up to 8 spins. Here we go.
Let's do it. Come on, big numbers, big numbers, big numbers. Stop.
All right, 1 spin. You're now tied with Danny at 6 spins. So now, one last chance for everybody to pick up some spins. This is your last shot. David, let's go.
All right, big spins, please, and stop the board.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe three's a good luck number for you. We'll see.
Hopefully.
All right, Danny. Here comes your final chance at some spins right now.
More. Let's get a spin. Stop.
All right, 1 spin for you. That puts you at 7 spins.
Ooh,
Take it to the final round. Josh.
Here we go. Let's start that board. Big numbers, big numbers, big numbers. Stop.
All right, 1 spin for you. That puts you at 7. And so, at the end of all of that, David, you're taking 3 spins to the final round. Danny and Josh both taking 7 spins. Speaking of the final round, why don't we go to there? Yes?
Let's do it.
Okie dokie. There it is. Perfect. As you can see on our final round board, there's more money, more prizes up for grabs. Yes, we do have some whammies, but we also have some double whammies.
Oh.
A double whammy is, well, it's not like the original show, but, well, if you land on one, then I'll tell you what it is. But they're here also to grab everything and put it in the big bank, which is currently at $7,920. If you rack up a total of 4 whammies, you'll be out of the game. David, be careful. You already have 1. The big bank square is still up there, though, waiting to be grabbed. And there's more strategy in this final round because now you can pass your spins to the opponent in the lead in hopes that they hit a whammy, and the leader must take those spins that have been passed to him. Now, Josh, currently you have the lead, $5,234. You're going to go last in this round.
All righty.
David, $0, 1 whammy, 3 spins. You're up first. Are you ready?
Yes, indeed. Let's go.
All right, put the big board in motion, and off we go.
Big bucks, no whammies, please, and stop the board.
Stop at 3,000 and a spin. All right. All right, still have 3 spins, 3 grand. What are you going to do? Press your luck or pass?
Press my luck.
Onward.
Bucks, no whammies, and stop the board, please.
I'm at $2,800. You're now at $5,800. You have the lead now by $634. 2 spins remaining. Press your luck or pass.
Let's press my luck.
Onward again.
Stop the board.
Stop at whammy. A regular whammy at the very least.
Oh, man.
Those darn whammies.
That was an Australian whammy.
And I believe that was your crocodile that the whammy took from you, David.
Yeah, those red metric monkeys.
Well, the big bank is now at $13,720. You have 1 spin, 1 hit of that big bank could give you $13,720, put you back in the lead. What are you gonna do?
Go big or go home. Let's do it.
Onward!
Stop forward.
Stop at a Disney cruise. That is worth $3,700.
Oh, man.
All right. Well, that's all right.
What, you don't like?
Maybe anything can happen.
You don't like Mickey Mouse?
It's just that it wasn't second place, total had to go. Yeah.
Well. All right, let's go on to Danny now. Danny, you have second place, $4,000. You ready to go?
Yes.
Let's go to the board.
Give it the money this time and stop.
Stop at whammy.
Oh. Oh.
That's a Britney Spears whammy, I think.
And you are correct on that, but unfortunately that won't get your money back.
Oh, no.
All right. The big bank now at $17,720. You have 6 spins, Danny.
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
We got to play.
Or pass?
We want to play.
All right, let's go.
All right. We got the one whammy out of the way. That's all I need. Okay, we need how about 10 grand in a spin and stop.
Stop at 1,000 in a spin. That's fine. You have $1,000. You still have 6 spins. Press your luck or pass.
I want to press my luck, Brandon.
Let's go.
Let's get a trip. So come on and stop.
Stop at move 1 space 2. What would you like? Hot air balloon adventure 2,800 or a portable spa package?
Let's go 2,800.
$2,800. You got it.
Just barely
Brings
put
you
me
to
in
3,800. You're now in second place by $100. 5 spins remaining. Press your luck or pass.
I want to play.
Onward we go.
All right. No whammies. So come on and stop.
Stop at a double whammy.
Oh no.
Which one is this now?
Oh, twice.
Good stuff.
Ooh.
I might have pretended I got ping pong balls.
And a couple of things are about to happen. One, that 3,800 goes into the big bank. 21,520. And now, Danny.
What?
Because it's a double whammy. I gotta explain this. Danger spin time.
Okay.
On a danger spin, if you land on a prize, that prize is going to go to the player who spun before you, and that was David.
Okay.
Land on a cash amount, it'll go to both David and Josh. Hit a regular whammy, you're just going to get another whammy. Hit another double whammy, you're going to get 2 more whammies. That will put you out of the game.
Shit.
The only thing really that can save you is if you hit that big bank. And I promise you, that's the only thing you can add to your score, that 21,520. That's all. Got it?
Uh-huh.
All right. Are you ready for this?
I guess so.
Let's take the danger spin now.
Let's get $1,000. So come on. And stop.
Oh!
What the fuck?
Oh no!
Great. Danny, this is for you.
Oh no!
Wow.
That sucks.
Do I say anything or just go on?
Go on. Yeah, Arthur, make us think. Goodbye.
Oh, Lord of mercy. All right. Well, Josh.
All right, I guess.
Maintain the lead, 5,234. You're up against David now. It's only you 2 remaining. 7 spins. What are you thinking?
I'm gonna pass to David.
Nah.
Not even gonna attempt it, are you?
I'm gonna pass to David.
You know you have 7 spins. Remember?
Yes, I know that. I know that.
Well, it's his call. David,
I'll take it.
the spins go to you regardless. $3,700 on the line. You have to take all 7. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
To the board.
Stop the board.
Stop at $1,400 and a spin. $5,100. 6 spins you still have to take. Here comes another one.
Stop.
Okay, stop at $1,400. Putting you at $6,500. You do have first place for the moment, but you still have 5 spins you still have to take. Let's go.
All right, come on, big bucks. No enemies, please, and stop the board.
Stop at $2,500, or you can spin again. What would you like?
I'm gonna take the money.
The money. All right, you have $9,000 now, David. 4 spins still remain. Let's go.
Got the board.
Stop at a trip to Ireland worth $9,520. That puts you at $18,520, David. Yet you still have 3 spins you still have to take. Here comes the next one.
Stop the board.
Stop at a bed set worth $2,278. $20,798. 2 spins remaining in the pass column. Let's take it.
Got the board.
10,000 and a spin.
No way.
30,798. David, 1 spin.
Let's go. Let's go.
Yeah, D. Let's go.
Got the board.
Stop at 5,000 and a spin. $35,798.
Nice recovery.
Yes, I'm gonna pass.
In the earn column. What?
I'm gonna pass.
Ooh,
okay.
Now I have to take the.
Yep, that's correct. You have to take all 3 spins, Josh. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's go.
Here we go to the board.
Big bucks, big bank, big bank, no whammy. Stop.
Stop and no whammy.
Oh, womp, womp, womp.
That is not good.
This is one of my favorite dishes, and it doesn't cost any money. It's a good thing.
It is? It's not a good thing.
You've been whammied.
I'll see that whammy out in the parking lot.
That's the Martha Stewart one.
Yeah. Oh.
And Josh.
All right, I've got 2.
Big Bank is now at $26,754.
All right, let's do it.
All right, so you have to, well, first we'll take the 2 spins in the pass column, move them up to the earn column. Now we can do it, all right?
Let's do it. Let's press our
All right, he's going to go.
And no whammies, no whammies. Stop.
How about 2,500, or you can spin again? What would you like?
2,500.
All right, so you have 2,500 for now. Let me explain the situation. You have 1 spin remaining.
Okay.
If you press your luck, you're going to need something that gives you more money, or something that gives you another spin to stay in this game and continue. Mostly another spin to stay in this game and continue. If you don't do it, or you get another whammy, David will win. That's if you choose to press your luck. If you even dare choose to pass to David and he whammies, that will give you the win. But that decision is up to you.
I'm gonna pass to David.
Okay. Well, David, that 1 spin is on you. You just have to avoid the whammy, and that's it.
You can do it.
All right.
Let's go.
Spin now.
Got the board.
Stop it. A man's diamond ring. That is worth 2,400. There you go, David.
Nice job, David.
All right, let's see. What you have won at the very end of it? Yeah, we won a bed set, a man's diamond ring, and trips on a Disney cruise and to Ireland, totaling $17,898 combined with a with the $20,300 in cash, giving you a total of $38,193.
Congratulations. Thank you. Yes. I know that's so.
Good job, David. Good job.
Danny.
Josh, that was a
you
great
did
attempt
good,
there.
but I was upset that I hit all those double whammies.
Danny, would you like to count these with me?
Would I like to what?
Would you like to count all these?
Oh yeah.
1, 2,
3.
And there's the big one right there.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that was great. Great attempt there. Thank you very much.
Good job.
And well done for you, David. Over 38,000. Any ideas what you're gonna do on a cruise?
I'm not sure. Probably.
Very fun, though, don't you think?
Yep. Yes, indeed. And Danny, this is my present for you.
You know, there's actually lyrics to that song.
I see. But man, that was a
good game.
Good game.
There was a little Spanish flea.
Oh. Yes, there are.
CDs again.
Show him the CDs, David. He didn't see them before.
It's actually computer games that I found during today. These are from mid to late 90s. Not sure you have these, but
you know what? Keep these up here. I'm gonna do a comparison if I can find them.
No, I'm not tired.
Huh?
I can tire in the live chat. Let's see, what is the copyright date? Let me go to my
Okay, not those.
1999 this came out. 1999 these games came out. How about that? 1999. Better times back then, but I'm sad all of these things I remember that felt like from 10 years ago.
Okay, found them. Found them.
Okay. What is it?
Okay, I'm gonna. All right, if you can hold yours again, and I'd like for you to hold yours again, and we'll do a comparison. Comparison for these.
Then.
All right.
Two different ones.
Oh, but that's the different game. Or is that the same? Oh, it is the same one. Okay. Oh, it's just got a different cover on it. That's cool.
Yeah, 1998. And what was yours?
1999.
Okay.
That's
me, 98. What do you know?
Yep. I guess they updated it a little bit, but that is what it is. I used to play a lot of these like old classic like almost entertainment games back in the day and other classic games. Is good times when those computer games were a thing back then.
It was good times, yes.
Mm-hmm.
There are some fast times.
My friends, I'm going to step out of the studio for the evening because my eyes are getting heavy.
Yes, mine too.
It is almost.
I was about to do the closing here actually. So, folks, that's going to be it for this episode of Chilling3000 Hangouts. Thank you so much to everybody who stopped by in the live chat. For those who I didn't get to your questions, I'm sorry, but hopefully, you'll get your answer sometime in another way. I don't know. We'll see. But with that being said, have control of the population, have a great spinner, Yeah.
God bless you all. Have a great night and stay healthy for an even better day tomorrow.
Better day tomorrow.